Breaking news coming across my desk, our desk. It is the Downwan Banks GOAT. Okay, I am the GOAT, and I'm along with the best MMA analyst on YouTube today, and you are taking a look at it, ladies and gentlemen. Sources confirm UFC 197 to feature Conor McGregor, Dos Anjos, HOLM versus MEISHA TATE. We're going to listen in to ESPN real quick. I am live with Tommy Razorstein from South Korea, the best MMA analyst on YouTube today.
While not official, looks to be a blockbuster card. But is it a mistake? Kerry Chow joined by ESPN MMA writer Brett Okamoto. Brett, in the main event, according to your sources, featherweight champ Conor McGregor will move up in weight to take on lightweight champ Rafael dos Anjos. Only two fighters in UFC history have won titles in multiple weight classes. McGregor hoping to be number 3. What do you think of this super fight?
Well, I think that this was probably inevitable once Conor McGregor claimed that featherweight championship. He had always expressed that he wanted to move up in weight. This is a guy who has trouble making that 145-pound mark. He feels much more comfortable at 155 pounds. He fought at that weight earlier in his career. Doesn't have to cut out as much water weight the week of the fight when fighting at 155. Now, there was one big name left at featherweight that Conor McGregor did not fight, and that is Frank Yeager. And that's a fight that I want to see happen. The message that I think needs to happen. But the key here is that Conor McGregor is not giving up his 145-pound title. So regardless of what happens against Dos Anjos at 155 pounds, McGregor will remain the featherweight champion. So I think we'll get to see that Edgar fight sooner or later. In terms of him moving up to Dos Anjos, it is a tough matchup for him. You can't say that this guy is ducking any challenges because Dos Anjos is coming off of a 66-second knockout against Donald Cerrone, one of the best fighters in the game right now.
Let's talk about the co-main event. Female bantamweight champ Holly Holm reportedly will make her first title defense against MEISHA TATE, who's on a 4-fight win streak. But, Brett, I want to ask you this. If Holm loses to Tate, could that have cost the UFC potentially millions in a Holm-Rousey rematch?
I think on one hand, the obvious answer is yes. If Holly Holm suffers a loss, it would be the first loss of her career. It would remove some sign of an eventual rematch between her and Rousey. But I don't think the UFC really had a choice in the matter. We really haven't heard much from Ronda Rousey since she was knocked out in November. There's no guarantee that she's going to be ready, anytime soon. That includes in July for UFC 200. She has not come out and made that official yet. So to ask Holly Holm to remain on the sidelines inevitably until Rousey wants to come back, it isn't fair to Holm. And I got to say that even if Holm were to lose the title in some fashion to MEISHA TATE, you would still have a mega fight between Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey. There would still be a lot of interest in seeing how Rousey could come back and face that adversity, the first time that she's ever lost in her career. So I will say that it is a win by the UFC, but I don't think they had a choice in the matter. And I think either way, you still have a lot of interest in that rematch.
ESPN MMA writer Brett Okamoto.
There you heard it, Tommy Razorstein. One of the biggest announcements in UFC history. Conor McGregor versus Rafael dos Anjos for the lightweight title of the world. Conor McGregor can become a 2-belt champion, 2-weight champion, and Holly Holm defending the bantamweight championship for the first time against MEISHA TATE. Tommy Razorstein, live from South Korea. My goodness, have you ever seen or heard anything like this in UFC history?
It's pretty wild, Don. It's really wild, dude. You know what? When I was listening to that guy, Brett, did he talk about anything about technique?
No,
None.
I don't. Okay.
None. Absolutely none. You know what? He doesn't break it down, dude. He just reports things that he hears, and he's like, okay, I guess this is what people like. But he has no idea what he's talking about. He didn't talk about anything about technique. I want to hear about how, MEISHA TATE does have a good chance of winning this fight because you know what? She does know how to cut angles. She does know how to shoot in for a single to a double. That's dangerous. That's dangerous for Holly Holm. So that's going to be a problem. She may have to, learn how to, avoid a takedown from her. So MEISHA Tate is one of the baddest ass motherfucking warriors of all time, Don.
Yeah.
She broke her leg in a wrestling match in high school and continued. She fucking had her arm broken by Ronda Rousey, lost her belt, got a shit, talked nonstop to her, and then came back and was like, you know what? I don't care if you broke my arm. I don't care you took my belt. I'm coming back, bitch. And she came back and fought her in a lost, but she went through a war trying to get her belt back again. She's crazy, dude. She broke her orbital bone in her face in the first round against Sarah McMahon and came back and started beating a wrestler. Sarah McMahon, who's a silver medalist in wrestling, came back and started beating her in the wrestling department with the orbital bone broken her face. How the hell do you do that? I mean, that's a woman that can do that. And you're like, that's one of the most baddest ass warriors, men or women, I've ever heard. Breaking your orbital bone in your face and being like, you know what? I'm going to beat the wrestler in the wrestling department. That's crazy, dude. With a broken orbital bone in your face, and you go and you start beating a wrestler, who's took a silver and a medalist.
She's a warrior.
In the Olympics. That's nuts.
That's nuts.
So she is dangerous and a hungry, hungry fighter. She wants, that belt so bad.
And this is her opportunity.
And this is her opportunity. She's dangerous.
She waited, Razor Stein. She waited and she waited and she waited because you didn't like this. You didn't like that Dana White had promised her that she would face Ronda Rousey, and that was taken away from her, and they made Rousey versus Holm because you said, and I believe this also, is that Dana White thought it would be easier for Ronda Rousey to take on Holly Holm, but he didn't see how dangerous of a fight that it was going to be. And Ronda Rousey loses the fight. And now what you're looking at is that he wanted Ronda Rousey to return at UFC 200 so he can make a shitload of money with the rematch. But me and you disagree with that because she was outclassed and we saw huge gaps and flaws in her fighting style. And she is not ready to step back in the octagon against Holly Holm.
You know what? If I was Dana White, I know it sounds kind of bad and sounds fucked up, but I'd be definitely rooting for MEISHA Tate. MEISHA wins and Ronda comes back. Ronda can beat MEISHA.
I think it'll be a huge fight.
When Dana White has fucking Ronda Rousey again.
Yes.
And discards, Holly Holm.
Yeah.
And they don't give her a title shot.
You're
She's
right.
Not marketable.
Tell me why.
Marketable
Can you
like
tell the
MEISHA
fans
Tate
right
or
now why
Ronda
she's not
Rousey?
marketable?
Huh?
Can you tell the fans right now why she's not marketable?
Holly Holm?
Yeah. Is it because she looked like a man?
Looking like a man don't help.
That bitch looked like a man. I don't want to put her on the front of ESPN magazine. I might not buy it.
You know what? They won't say that on ESPN. Hey,
boy.
That's the thing. That's the thing that you're gonna hear with us, Don. The thing that you're gonna hear with us is like, the marketability is, bitch looks like a man. They don't want to sell tickets for her. She ain't gonna end up on our front cover of Sports Illustrated. It ain't gonna happen, Don. You know what I mean? Not gonna happen.
No lingerie shoots and none of that. On it.
Yeah, so that's gonna be tough, man. The UFC is gonna be like, well, I don't know if I really want her. They're not gonna build a franchise around her. It's gonna be hard to bring Holly Holm into the spotlight and display her as like one person who they want. It's gonna be like that red-headed stepchild that you beat the shit out of and say, God damn it, I hate this little bastard kid.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what's going to be like.
I got MEISHA Tate winning this fight. I was very outspoken about that. I know you're not going to go on record with a prediction yet. We did talk about that. But what I wanted to say was what happened. I got MEISHA Tate, but what happens if Holm could KO Tate in the same fashion?
Then you have to bring in Cyborg. You have to bring in Cyborg.
Mega fight.
Mega fight Cyborg, and then like
Will Holm be
I don't know,
marketable
I
then
don't know,
if
from
it's a
sales point of
devastating knockout?
view, people will come in. Doesn't matter.
I gotta ask you this: will Holm
What's
be
that?
marketable then if it is a devastating knockout like that?
If she beats Tate, and then she is lined up for Cyborg,
He will
yes.
be marketable. Okay. So Holm
Not
is looking for a devastating. It does seem, Tom. I did want to add this. It does seem that Holm is looking for a devastating finish on this fight because she's so eager to get back in the octagon, and she is with the man that you said is the master of game plans, Greg Jackson.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is? This. You look at her body; she's toned. There's not 1 ounce of fat on her.
No foul.
You look at Ronda's body;
And
she
we
could
look at
drop. I'm
see
telling
that?
you, she could drop a little bit of weight if she needed to.
She wasn't like that before. It's all the commitment. She even said it. It was so many commitments that she could not focus 100% on the fight.
Miesha Tate could drop down to maybe a lower weight class too. They could make another weight class, maybe 125.
Right.
If they needed to, and they want to bring back Ronda Rousey,
Yes.
make a different weight class.
Razor
That's what
Stein,
you do.
I did make the prediction.
Ronda could drop.
I
What's that, Don?
did make the prediction that this fight was going to happen. I did the video a month and a half ago. It's up right now. And it got over 7,000 hits. Razor Stein, you've alluded to if this fight happens, that is going to be very interesting. Is it techniques stylistically before we go into Conor McGregor versus Rafael dos Anjos? What do you see at this point, and why are you waiting to really give a prediction on this fight?
All right. Let's bring it back old school. I'll give it an analogy, old school analogy that like people in our generation will understand. You ever played the old game GoldenEye?
Yes.
And like, you're playing that James Bond GoldenEye, and you gotta try and get the right angles on people. You gotta set up the shots on the right angle. Move here and set up the shot. Move here, set up the shot. Move there, set up the shot. And you're constantly working all the angles. And you remember the game. Even when you're shooting at each other, you're constantly setting up different angles, like you're hiding behind walls and pop out and get a different angle. That's what this fight is going to be about. This fight is going to be about cutting angles. And if Miesha Tate can get the right angles, then she can win this fight. Miesha Tate is fucking crazy. She doesn't care that, Ronda Rousey just got her head kicked in. She doesn't care that she broke her leg and, she continued to wrestle a match. She doesn't care. She broke her arm and, wants the belt back. She doesn't care. She
don't care about all that kickboxing.
Or bone in her face and keeps moving forward. Those people are freaking dangerous. You don't want to fight people like that. So she has to fight, Miesha Tate, and Miesha Tate's dangerous. They're going to work on angles. Greg Jackson is going to work on angles, Don. So I know what Greg Jackson is going to do because I know, what I want done. And Greg Jackson does what I want done. Do you know what I mean? Whenever I see things, I'm like, this is what I would work on. This is what I would work on. And Greg Jackson does it. Remember before Ronda Rousey, I'm like, dude, she'll get the right training because like they're gonna work on all the things like takedowns and single legs, double legs. They're gonna work on closing the distance in these angles because this is what I would do, and they fucking didn't. And I was like, she'll win the fight because she'll get the help. She has the right training, and that was the problem. She didn't get the right fucking training and the right camp and shit. It's ridiculous. But anyway, Greg Jackson is the type of person who actually does and says exactly what I want done. So he's going to work on angles. and he's going to be really difficult to game plan for because you always got to think you're fighting Greg Jackson too.
And and Razorstein, what a very accurate depiction on how you think things are going to go for this fight. And I can't wait until you make your make it official. But now we're going into the second mega fight on this card, and let me tell you guys something that's watching this, that this is one of the biggest fights in UFC history. And this is how imperative it is to watch Tommy Razorstein and D. Don Juan Banks, because this is history right now. And we are talking about Dos Anjos, the lightweight champion of the world, versus Conor McGregor. We just lost Tommy Razorstein for a minute. We're gonna try to get him back on. I have no clue what just happened. But in talking about this fight, I've said this. I've literally said that this fight is a big fight for Conor McGregor, and I think that he's taking on too much, despite the fact that he drops to 145 pounds, the featherweight division, and they say he has a difficult time doing that. I feel that his power will not carry up to this weight class. And if you watched what he did, what Rafael Dos Anjos did to Donald Cerrone in that 66-second fight that was live on Fox, what you can see is the punching power of Dos Anjos, the heart of Dos Anjos, and the ability of Dos Anjos to move forward and impose his will. Now you're looking at a Conor McGregor that's going to have to use his movement, and I don't know if his power, his strength will convey in the 155-pound division, and that could be disastrous if his punching power is not as deafening that it is in the 145-pound division. You're looking at a Dos Anjos that could possibly, walk through punches, that could possibly secure a takedown, that possibly can hurt Conor McGregor and control the fight, or actually put him out of the fight. Tommy Razorstein, are you back now? We just lost you for a second.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, you were hearing what I was saying. I don't believe that I have Rafael Dos Anjos. I have MEISHA Tate, and a lot of people are angry about those predictions that I've made on both of those fights. I do not believe that Conor McGregor can beat Rafael Dos Anjos. I feel that he's taking on too much. I looked at Rafael Dos Anjos' past fight against Donald Cerrone, and he destroyed him in 66 seconds. Before that, he shocked the world. The guy that was on the Wheaties box, Anthony Pettis, basically got his orbital bone broke. Yeah, that happened to him. Can you believe that? And he was just outclassed in that fight, and he got a lot of heart to be able to survive as long as he did in finishing the fight, but he didn't show much of anything in that fight. And I think that Conor McGregor, I love his movement. If it's anything I will give him in that fight is his movement. I think that is the key, and he's always said that is the key. If he can keep moving, that can make this a more interesting fight. So I don't want to just say that Rafael Dos Anjos will blast through Conor McGregor. I fear that he won't have the power, and that will be the downfall. He will not have the power and the strength. But the movement of McGregor is what I believe, if any, can win him this fight. And if it was booked in Ireland, which is not going to be. So I have Rafael Dos Anjos. What do you see about that fight? You predicted this fight, just as I predicted MEISHA Tate versus Holly Holm, and you got to give me credit for that. I got to give you credit, Tommy Razorstein, for predicting this fight. So it tells you that 2 is always better than 1.
Man, this fight
we both predicted,
crazy.
Tommy Razorstein. Before you talk, we got to give ourselves credit. We both predicted. I mean, you predicted one, I predicted the other. I don't think anyone on YouTube has done that.
We're good.
It's the proof is in the pudding.
We're good, man.
Conor McGregor, Dos Anjos.
Thing is this, Don. No one's really been able to figure out Conor McGregor. It's pretty crazy. I mean, we haven't seen that much of a game plan on him. We can develop a game plan against him. It's going to be really difficult. I mean, the one fight he fought against Max Holloway was the closest fight he had to somebody. I mean, that's about it. I mean, he won the fight, but he didn't look absolutely amazing. But the rest of his fights, he just dominated everyone. It's going to be really difficult to game plan for somebody they don't have that much footage on.
So
Conor brings a different style every time.
You believe Conor can? Are you? You sit in Ireland, but are you on the fence about this? Are you going to make it official and go with McGregor in this fight? In the world standstill, and this man is on the top of the world. I mean, the world is in the palm of his hand, like Scarface. The world is yours. He is the modern day Scarface. No pun intended to Jose Aldo, because he's Scarface. But I'm talking about in a literal sense. He would be, he would have the world in his hands. Any place he wants to go, anything that he desires, any woman that he wants, anything that he says, he is literally God on this planet. Yeah, I mean, he would be living, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but he would be the living Jesus Christ. If he won 2 UFC titles,
it would be absolutely crazy. I mean, people would be questioning if he can walk on water.
Live!
They would question him if he got 2 belts. You know, he would be acting like he was walking on water. He would be crazy.
Oh,
it would be crazy.
My God.
Thing is this. I don't want to switch my opinion. I don't want to, be a flip-flopper or any of that bullshit. But, like, we're saying that he's going to lose now, but you don't know what kind of onslaught, verbal beating he's going to take. If he walks into the octagon and looks like fucking Jose Aldo did, no way. I don't care. He's going to look. If he looks like that when he looks at the canvas and looks scared, and he has that nervous twitch to him like Jose Aldo did, no way. I mean, we're saying this now, but if he takes another verbal beating, oh God, I can't go along with him, even though I'm voting on him now. Stylistically, weight difference, I'm gonna go with Rafael dos Anjos. But if I see, the Rafael dos Anjos and he walks in looking like fucking Jose Aldo did, no way, man.
So where are you standing at on this? Because people want to know something from you, Tommy. I mean, you
I got Rafael dos Anjos until shit changes.
Okay, got you.
Don't call me a flip-flopper if I change my opinion because he walks in looking like Jose Aldo did. You're talking like, you changed your mind. No shit, I changed my mind. I didn't know the verbal beating that he was going to take. If he can't handle the verbal beating and he, doesn't look fresh, if he looks like trash and he looks terrible, then I'm able to change my mind because you know what, the everything changed because of it. How its standings are now without the world tour and all that shit. I mean, this is Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo, didn't lose for 10 years, had the belt for a long time, dude. This wasn't somebody who was scared and nervous, who couldn't handle pressure. He's never been there under the spotlight before. I mean, that motherfucker folded, dude. He folded. Like he's never, been under pressure before.
Tommy Razorstein, we're out of time. This has to be the biggest video I think we've ever done, to be quite honest. I mean, this is history.
Crazy.
Yes, it is. For Tommy Razorstein, who is currently live in South Korea, the best MMA analyst on YouTube today, GOAT, the Don Juan Banks. We're going to keep you updated on the biggest fights in UFC history. Peace out.
Peace out.